Welcome back once again. It's your boy JT coming back with a real talk. We were trained to think a certain way. We were trained to think a certain way. We were brainwashed. We were lied to. I've said this before. If you steal somebody's identity, they don't know who they are. They don't know what they are. And you can tell them they this and that and they will accept it. And one thing about a lie or lies, if you do it long enough, eventually somebody's going to start to believe it. We've been programmed to this system for so long that it's sad. And then when somebody comes along with the truth, most people will reject it. We've been lied on so much. The enemy have always used lies. The enemy have always used racism, stereotyping, the penitentiary, drugs, war, the government, the church, rap music, movies, reality shows, sports, school. Do you hear me? Because the prince of the power of the earth, he never stop moving through technology, through movies, through all forms of communication. Do you hear me? When you are trained to think a certain way, it's so hard to break that. But some of us have broken that. We don't care to hear those lies anymore. Some of us have broken that because we have tapped into the Holy Spirit. Uh-oh. Some of us have woke up, Sister Tanisha. We have broken that Willie Lynch mess, that mindset, that thinking, because some of us are still locked up spiritually. I know some that's in the penitentiary and their mindset is better than the ones that's out free. When you are in a spiritual prison, you're in bad shape. The enemy is using all these tactics and been doing it. He's been using the same game for years. But when you are trained to think a certain way, you messed up. Now, I don't have nothing against white people, but look at how many white parents train their children to hate growing up. Hate that black boy. Don't you play with that black boy. They dirty, they filthy, they monkeys, they this, they that, they nasty. They brainwash their kids. So their kids grow up with hatred that turns into a grown man or a grown woman with hatred because of what they was trained. And then they brainwashed us in their school systems. I keep hearing all this talk about how black people need to change this, change that. If we could just come together. Man, we've been hearing this for how many years? How you gonna come together and you can't even get along together? I'm tired of hearing about Black Lives Matter. I'm tired of hearing about all these other agendas. When in reality is if your heart don't change, your actions will never change. Your heart got to change. Because if your heart stays the same, your mindset gonna stay the same. I'm talking about your spiritual heart condition. Your mindset got to change. But the mindset of my people is what? keep marching. The mindset of my people is to keep protesting because that's all you've been trained to do. Holler out Black Lives Matter. We waiting on Black History Month. We waiting on this. We waiting on that. You keep looking to the white man. You keep looking to the system of the enemy, let me say, to do things that you should have been doing for yourself. But we won't even support ourselves. I know I'm about to make something mad with this video. Truth hurt, just listen. Why you think they own the corner store? Why you think they have most of the businesses? Why you think you spend all your money on what they offer you? Because you've been trained, you've been brainwashed, instead of being taught how to have your own business. You've been taught to be more like the borrower instead of the lender. You've been taught that you ain't gonna be nothing. You've been taught that we gotta get another black leader, JT. We gotta get somebody in here that was like King. We gotta get the next Malcolm X. Out of all this hearing that I got, we gotta get the next. I don't hear nobody saying we gotta get the Holy Spirit. We need to get in tune with the one that created us. Out of all this, even back in the day, NAACP, civil rights, equal rights, segregation. Like I just said, marching and protesting. We still trying to get equal with a satanic system. As I did a video not too long ago saying you want equal rights from the enemy. We got to get justice. JT, it ain't no justice. It's just us. What if you keep saying that? Why are you looking for justice to come through their system? When you know some of these lawyers and judges are Masons. You know a lot of these police officers are Masons. You know a lot of them will stick together. I didn't say everybody was a Mason. But once you learn who an America really is, what America really stands on, what America was founded on, teach Holy Spirit. Hope they let this video go through. You see the wrong system. You know who owned it all. You know what the media gonna portray. Lies and fear. You know what this news gonna keep producing. What have you learned? You've been trained to think a certain way, and you don't want to let your mind set break free from it. You've been taught that keep living in the curse. And you ain't really realized what our Savior done on the cross. What we was taught was not right, y'all. Let me tell you something. And I believe this was Solomon in the Old Testament. How do you expect the next generation to do better when generation after generation after generation after generation have been taught to think and do the same thing? That's why I got my people that's older than me, and I keep telling them, what you telling me, it didn't work for your generation. It's not working for my generation. It's not going to work for the generation under me. Because it's the same actions. All teach Holy Spirit. And I mean no disrespect to my older people, but it's the same actions. You've been marching and protesting and hollering and crying out for years. Y'all been calling on Al Sharpton and Jesse for years. Yes, Al Sharpton gonna give you a great feel-good message because Al Sharpton will feed your emotions. But when it really comes down to talking about the real enemy, where they at? Where the preachers at? Who's talking about Ephesians 6 and 12? Who's talking about the prince of the power of the earth instead of the white man in slavery? See, our action, I mean no disrespect, trust me. But who's talking about the real enemy? And what Al and Jesse gonna do is gonna keep you focused on the same thing that you've been crying out for years. Because once again, it untaps your emotions. You have been emotionally fed because when something happens, they're gonna feed your emotions, but is your soul being fed? Because if your soul is being fed, then you're going to have a change in your life. You're going to have a change in your heart. You're going to have a change in your actions. You're going to have a change in your mindset. I love them brothers. But Al Sharpton and Jesse can't change my mindset because they talking about the same thing. You can keep going back to King off of however many years you want. You can keep going back to civil rights. You can keep going back to talking about segregation. But what good is it going to do you? Have you learned from it? Have you learned that the real enemy is not against flesh and blood? I hear you, JT, but I want justice. Well, I want God's justice. Even if I don't see it in my lifetime, I already know He said vengeance is mine. And what's going to happen to them is way more worse than what I could even think about doing to the enemy. That's why I let the Most High handle my enemy, because I know who the enemy is. God is destroying and exposing the enemy. He's judging America. He's pulling the cover off of these bootleg preachers. And what most of us can't see is that we have been brainwashed through so much of this technology, Brother P.P. Jones. Everybody I know keep talking about being forced to do this, to do that. Oh, the Bible said we're going to be, no, the Bible said that He calls it all small and great. It didn't say He forced. Well, some of these translations may have said that. But it's a difference between causing something and being forced. Most people are being deceived through technology and they don't even see it. Oh, we're going to be, man, they're going to force us to take this vaccine. Most of the things that you are doing in your life, you are giving it away freely. How do you know, JT? Look at Facebook. Look at how many people on Facebook, they telling all their business. They got the GPS tracker letting you know everything they doing and where they at all times. Don't you know the media and these websites are designed to get more and more information out of you? And don't you know when you give that information out, it's not being deleted? Let me stop. Ain't nobody being forced. And I'm talking about parents and all. Why would you say this, JT? The Bible say, do not be ignorant of the devil's schemes, his devices. He is the prince of the power of the earth. I hope somebody can hear this preaching here. If you spending all your time Facebooking, Snapchat, Instagram, what's the other, Twitter, FaceTiming, but you don't spend no time with the Most High, His Word, what does that say about you? Most people are just freely giving their information away. They ain't being forced to do nothing. Who forced you to go get that iPhone? Who forced you to get that smart TV? Who forced you to go out and get all this stuff? Nobody. You wanted it because you have been taught this system. You have been brainwashed. You have been programmed. TV programming. TV programming. Television. Tell your vision. And when you stay in that long enough, you become what you're looking at. Technology. That's why a lot of people saying technology is the mark of the beast. That's what they believe now. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 29. The Most High said that He made man righteous. but they sought out to many inventions. What does that mean? That mankind will always keep seeking the newest technology. And they will use technology to keep you blinded from studying, from reading, from hearing, knowing who the Most High is. I'm not saying all technology is bad. There's some good in technology, just like what I'm doing here. But can you see the deception? Do you recognize the deception? You got to renew your mind. The prince of the power of the earth is moving through all forms of communication, video games, movies. I keep telling y'all that. Computers, cell phones. Think about this as I close out. This system has brainwashed us so much. They taught you to do what? Go to school, get an education. You can't be successful if you don't go to college. That was a lie. And then look at how much college drains you. Look at the system behind college. Look at all the money it costs. I'm not knocking nobody that went to college. I'm just talking facts. Who's really making the money? Some of y'all mom and your parents, they broke down trying to get you through college. And some never finished. Some just wasted their parents' money. Well, if I don't qualify for this and I don't qualify for that, I'm not going to make it if I don't. Yeah. Who's really getting the money? How long does it really take to get that degree? And when you get that degree, are you going to find something that you are you going to even find something nowadays? Are you going to be overqualified or underqualified? They taught you that though. You gotta go to school to get an education, and you will not be successful unless you go to college. Add that along with your history that they taught. They history. His story. You can't go in this life and be successful unless you go to college. Well, I didn't go to college. Everybody couldn't afford to go to college. Everybody didn't qualify for those. Oh, look at them loans and look at how many people that's in debt. Credit got all messed up. My point is, everything they taught us was to keep us tied to their system. And all of the teaching that they did, what did they teach God? They didn't. Because they didn't want you to know God. I ain't talking about all teachers. But they didn't want you to know God. They didn't want you to know who and what God was. They was really teaching you they God. They taught you their way. They taught you the ways of America. They put the Constitution higher than the Bible. Teach, Holy Spirit. But they want to use that same Bible in court. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You don't even supposed to swear. The Bible teaches you that. But they want you to use that Bible. But we know how messed up these so-called forefathers of America was. These liars, these Masons, these rapists, these thieves, these slave owners. Even some of your old presidents were slave owners. When you know these presidents are not elected, but selected. Why you keep crying out, brother, you need to go vote. We can make a change. You ain't gonna make no change. because the change starts with you. And once you understand that you will not make a change to their system, because their system is designed to fit and do what it's doing, and it's got you wrapped around their finger, and your mind is still focused on that system. That's why your vote don't matter. Now a lot of people starting to wake up and see that, man, they cheated. They be cheating when they count the vote. They always cheated. Really, wasn't even a cheat, because I'm going to tell you once again, every president is kin to each other all the way up to now, including when Obama was in office. Why? Because that's their blood. Somebody ain't studying. I told a woman this the other day, and I told my old coworker. She was 75 years old. The other lady close to 80. And I told her that every president was kin to each other. She said, I ain't never heard that in my life. 75 and the other one 80 years old. Ain't never heard that. Where did you get that from, brother? I ain't never heard no mess like that. Of course they rejected it. Why they keep telling us we can make a difference by voting. And I'm telling you that all your voting all these years, it didn't matter. Because if somebody gonna keep something in the family, blood related, they gonna make sure it stay in the family. Wake up, people. I'm out.